wrestling fans. Welcome to another edition of Ring Respect Radio. I am your host, the Real Bobby Munson, and with me today in the studio, special guest Tyler. Tyler, thank you for joining us.
No problem, my man.
We are going to be talking about WWE Elimination Chamber.
Ooh.
That is airing this Sunday. Oh, we're going to be tuning in, and we're going to give you some predictions for the show. So we're going to start off, let's start off with probably the match that I am most fond of. Bray Wyatt versus Woken Matt Hardy. What are your thoughts on this one and about the way things have been going with Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy at the moment?
All right. Woken Matt and Bray. Are they still doing that thing where they like laugh at each other?
Unfortunately, a little too much at times, I think. And in fact, this Monday, there was another promo that they did where it kind of did the whole back and forth. You know, I'm going to get you. We've been fighting forever. And it ended with the laughter back and forth kind of thing. So the laughter thing, I think, is gone maybe a little too far. I think they need to amp up the craziness of the feud myself. Mm-hmm. But is that payoff coming this Sunday, or are we going to extend it out to WrestleMania?
I'm thinking maybe an extension out to WrestleMania.
I don't see why not. Honestly, I think the feud is something that should carry on for a while. I mean, the two of them, I feel if you pull this feud apart for the two of them right now, what's left for either one of them at the moment going forward? So, again, I think if they do this feud right and they allow it to get to the chaoticness that was Broken Matt universe, you know, in TNA and outside of WWE prior, I think if they allowed it to get to that level of crazy between these two, and, you know, what better two characters in professional wrestling today to do it with than these two, I think if we got to that, we would get the feud that we all deserve, and both of them are going to walk away winners in the end. Exactly. Personally. But speaking of winners, you got to pick one. What are you picking for this Sunday?
I am long-term predictions here. I want Bray Wyatt to win this one. He needs it right now to be taken a little bit serious. Then they take it to WrestleMania, where Brother Nero can finally show up.
That's a good point. As we anyone might have heard, there is rumor that Jeff Hardy is on the mend, ready to come back. Whether or not he'll join as Brother Nero, we're yet to see. I mean, again, we know Vince is very high on Jeff Hardy as a singles star, so whether or not he'll bother to put him in amongst what Matt Hardy's doing right now is, you know, definitely something we'll have to wait and see. If we're going to go with my prediction for this Sunday, you know, I like where you're going with that. I hear where you're coming from, but because Bray picked up the win on Raw 25, I'm thinking that, you know, knowing WWE's booking style, we're going to see a Woken Matt Hardy win is my guess this Sunday. Plus, you know, the house show circuit Matt Hardy's been going over in the matches so far. So I'm going to go Woken Matt Hardy. God. You've got Bray Wyatt. So
a man can dream.
Well, of course.
A man can dream.
Yeah.
That Bray would win once.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, he did on Raw 25. He has, you know, again, like if we look back on some of Bray's previous matches, he's won more in the last, say, 6 months, I think, than he did in the prior 2 years with the company, and yet everybody was right behind him for the 2 years that he was losing. Then he gets on a streak, and suddenly everybody's like, you know, I'm not backing this whole Wyatt thing anymore, kind of thing. And I think it's a shame, because Wyatt is a unique, one-of-a-kind character that I think has longevity with the company.
Where did he wrestle that match against Matt Hardy? Was it at the Manhattan Center, Raw 25?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that doesn't count. That was in front of like 5 people.
Well, a little bit more than 5 people anyway.
Yeah, but five people that were only there to see the Undertaker talk for 2 minutes.
I also said on my show previously about that night was that, you know, does anything on Raw 25 legitimately count towards the actual storyline?
I don't think so.
Seeing as they were bringing in all these legends and doing all this shit that really didn't seem to apply, to me, the match almost is non-existent.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like the one later in that night with the Revival and the Club. Again, you know, people are talking about, oh, the Revival jobbed out. It's like, did they, or did they just have a Raw 25 moment?
Yeah. They weren't looking to take anything serious. They were looking to get a cheap pop from DX showing up.
Exactly. And that's why I think sometimes fans need to take a chill pill every once in a while.
Exactly.
And just enjoy what they're getting. Enjoy the experience, you know. Again, but yes, we can all dream that Bray Wyatt will get back on to, you know, his winning ways and maybe become the dominant force that he deserves to. Might be the right feud for him to do so, and the right feud for people who aren't maybe as familiar with that Woken Matt Hardy broken character, it's a good way to ease them into it before they go full-blown Woken Matt Hardy, if they choose to do so as well, too.
I feel like they tried to go full-blown Woken Matt when he first started, and then people really, I was reading comments on some posts about Woken Matt, and everybody seemed to be just a little bit, they're unsure, it's not the same.
Yeah, but think back to when you first saw the broken Matt Hardy gimmick, and I'm going to be in the same boat as some of those same people making the comments now. When I first saw that happening in TNA, I was like, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to ease into it and get it. And after I did get it, I loved it.
Yeah.
But you have to embrace it. You have to take your time with it.
Yeah.
And I can understand why those fans are a little reluctant to get behind it. But I mean, the guy is over with this gimmick. I mean,
for sure.
There is a lot of people behind the gimmick, whether it be on the shows like the pay-per-views, the Raws, but also the house shows. I'm just recently at the house show a week ago, and that was the loudest pop of the entire night was for Woken Matt Hardy. And the entire time, the fans were chanting for him, cheering for him, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Out of everybody that was on the entire card, Woken Matt's who everybody came to see that even.
For sure.
So I think they can't turn a blind eye to it, and they've got to allow it to go to full chaotic, because what do they have to lose at this point? I mean, there's not much they can lose, other than, the idea that they didn't initially create it. But again,
they gotta bring the Wyatt compound match back.
I would love to see some sort of formation of that, or some sort of play on it, and especially like say at a WrestleMania where they don't have to have it at the building, and maybe not play a whole 15-20 minute segment. Maybe play little pieces throughout the night. I don't know if you recall WrestleMania, I believe it was 10 if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but it was a Goldust versus Roddy Piper in that street fight or whatever.
The street fight, and they went.
It didn't go from start to finish. No. It went all throughout the place.
Yeah.
It went, with a car chase scene
they had
and
the
everything.
Car chase.
This is something that I feel Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy could bring to WrestleMania.
Oh, for sure. They could make it great.
Yeah. But first, I think they need to do the right thing with them this Sunday. Again, you're choosing Bray Wyatt. I've got Matt Hardy, so we'll see who ends up picking up that prediction anyways.
Alrighty.
Before we talk about the next three matches, because the next three matches all have WrestleMania implications, we're going to talk about something else that is on the card for Elimination Chamber this Sunday, and that's the signing of Ronda Rousey to the Raw brand. What are your feelings? And again, we both know that the signing to the Raw brand is all just for show and stuff like that. She's officially signed to WWE. We know that she's with the company. So what are your thoughts on Ronda Rousey coming to WWE and how she's going to be utilized with the company?
I feel like her impact at first, I was confused about her impact because Asuka just won the Rumble. The news sources, as the females have complained about on Twitter and social media, Ronda Rousey's debut at the Rumble totally just crushed the fact that there was a 30 women Royal Rumble. It totally took away the appeal of women making history, but it was also a really kick-ass way to throw off the night because nobody expected it. She told TMZ she was going to be somewhere else filming a movie. So her impact was, a little meh. I like it now, but she'll be fine in WWE. She'll be way better off than, anybody else that would make a debut. I see her going straight to the top instantly.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you. On the Royal Rumble side of it, especially with her debut, I can get where everybody's coming from again, especially with, Asuka being made a big deal out of, and then her to go and win the first ever Women's Battle Royal, continuing her undefeated streak, including a Royal Rumble match, which,
yes.
I mean, is practically unheard of in professional wrestling
yes.
as it is. This streak has been something of pure amazement, but they're going for the obvious moneymaker with bringing Ronda Rousey out at that time. Asuka, to us hardcore fans, this is a dream come true, her run, her win, and everything like that for us hardcore fans. For the casual people that are going to turn into the TMZs and stuff like that to get their wrestling source news from, they're going to see Ronda Rousey, and it sparks a huge thing. I mean, the internet exploded that night. I had people at work even asking me, coming up to me and saying, "Hey, did you hear that Ronda Rousey is in WWE?" kind of thing. And it's really shocking that how much of an impact she's having outside of the wrestling community on wrestling as a whole right now, kind of thing. But I do agree with you. I don't like the fact that it was right after that, and very confusing the way they did it, where, okay, I get the whole idea. She tries to shake Asuka's hand. Asuka pulls it away because that's Asuka's character. We know that. That's what I love about Asuka.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But for then her to turn to Charlotte, not even like acknowledge Alexa, she turns to Charlotte and then points at the WrestleMania sign as if to implicate some sort of idea of Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But yet, from any rumors I've read, that's not the case.
Yeah.
I've also got the impression like she's going to not even be involved in a title picture at WrestleMania. So the whole point of the two champions there, and Asuka making a decision, and Ronda coming out, it kind of took away from that moment in a sense and stuff like that. So, I mean, good for them for obtaining her. I think she'll do well. Hopefully she'll do well. Again, the biggest problem is she's got to now go out on this big stage with high expectations. This isn't the same as when they trained Lana to wrestle or anything like that, where everyone was like, oh, I'm excited to see how it'll turn out. And when it doesn't turn out that great, they're like, okay, boo, put her back as a manager. Yeah. Right? That's not the case with Ronda. This is crash or burn for Ronda. She either comes out there looking like a star, or she's going to crash and burn fast in this industry.
Oh, for sure. It doesn't in professional wrestling. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're not the best, you won't be treated as the best.
Exactly. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure, if nothing else, this Sunday we'll get a clearer picture about what the plan is for Ronda Rousey for WrestleMania, as I'm sure we'll find out a lot more about WrestleMania this Sunday anyway. But I'm thinking, from what I've heard, is there's a tag match being planned with Ronda Rousey. Now, whether that's 2v2, two women versus two other women, I don't know. Or is this, the long-awaited Ronda Rousey teaming with The Rock or somebody like that to take on Triple H and Stephanie? I'm not really too sure of that either.
I haven't been up on my rumors. I don't really, read up too much on rumors. But I think the best choice would probably be involving Stephanie in some way. The Rock probably couldn't. Yeah. He's probably doing something else.
Well, that's the thing. It's harder and harder to get The Rock back, especially to have him agree to step inside the squared circle and compete, right? I mean, it's money to him if he gets injured that could mean a role that he's not working.
Well, they could also work it into the two brands also, in a way. Have Ronda... the only rumor that I've been really trying to keep up on is the Daniel Bryan getting cleared. Ronda and Daniel Bryan versus Stephanie and Shane McMahon.
Now, see, I see where you come from there, but here's what I was thinking more, because her beef originally was with Stephanie from a while back, and and Hunter was involved in that position too. And we know that there's been this long-awaited rumor of possibility of Triple H versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. Now, could they get away from that by having Kurt Angle team with Ronda Rousey to take on Triple H and Stephanie?
Yeah, they could do that too. That would probably tie in a lot better.
You would think so, and I feel like Kurt Angle would be a good fit for Ronda Rousey's character for a WrestleMania moment.
Jiu-jitsu, amateur wrestling.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be great at takedowns and stuff like that. For sure. I mean obviously Ronda. I've talked to a few people who are more diverse with MMA than I am, because I'm not as familiar with her work outside of wrestling. Yeah. So I talked to a few people who are big MMA fans, and they said, the one thing about her is she's always been well known for her takedowns. Yes. Her takedowns have always been a big thing. And I mean, that's part of the battle when it comes to stepping inside the squared circle, is she can get the takedowns down and she knows the submission holds. It's a matter of then taking all that and putting it together, being able to build a story inside that squared circle. And I'm sure they are training her day in and day out right now in preparation
every
for that.
Day.
Because this is a big investment. And they've got to make it look good.
If it flops, lots of money's gone.
Oh, exactly.
Tons.
It could be XFL level money gone.
For sure.
So, anyways, let's move on to the next match. We're going to talk about, speaking of Asuka just recently, she will be in battle this Sunday against Nia Jax. The rule to this one is, if Nia Jax breaks a streak, if she defeats Asuka in any way, she will then join Asuka and the women's champion in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. If she doesn't win, then Asuka will go in a one-on-one battle going into WrestleMania. What are your thoughts? Where do you think this one's going? Will the streak be broken?
Of course not. It's foolish to think that they would get rid of Asuka's streak before WrestleMania. The streak being broken so close to WrestleMania would be foolish because she's undefeated. Everybody wants to see her go undefeated to WrestleMania. If they really want Nia Jax in a triple threat match, they could work it in a different way. They could totally work it in a better way than taking away a streak.
Oh, I completely agree with you. Unfortunately, we know that's not always the case with the booking in WWE, and Vince could decide last minute that, hey, it's time to kill this streak off at Elimination Chamber of all pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we might have to suffer through that. I'm hoping not, personally, because I think with something as special as a streak like Asuka's had, this isn't just, again, I'm not taking away from what the New Day did with their tag title run or anything like that, but it was a tag title run that got to first place, and it ended when it did. But again, nobody remembers that now because of the fact that it ended on a side pay-per-view, and that's why I kind of wanted to mention it, because I think it will kill the allure of what Asuka accomplished if it ends at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
It needs to end, if it's going to end at all, at a bigger top 4 pay-per-view. This ends at WrestleMania, or it ends at SummerSlam, or something along those lines kind of thing. I honestly feel like Asuka needs to go on to WrestleMania. She needs to win that title. She needs to carry it through to SummerSlam at least before they consider taking the title from her and having her lose that streak.
I feel like they should do the same as they're doing with Kurt Hawkins, but the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kurt Hawkins is going on a losing streak. They're making it known that, hey, this guy's losing a lot. Have Asuka win a lot. Be like, hey, Asuka's winning a lot. So when she loses, huge deal. When Kurt Hawkins wins, huge deal.
Yeah.
They could do the same thing.
And they have done a fairly good job. They've had some promo videos and stuff like that I thought were well done to show, Asuka's streak and stuff like that. In fact, it wasn't this week, but I think the previous week where they had one that actually explained out of all the women she fought, how many different countries they've been from, how many different titles amongst all of them, and that means titles outside of WWE even. They calculated the amount of championship runs by the women that she's taken out already, kind of thing. So they've built this massive superstar in Asuka and stuff like that. And at this point, again, unless it's, okay, I understand, Ronda Rousey's got enough of a name to beat that streak, but don't do it at a small pay-per-view.
No.
Nia Jax is wonderful, and they've done a great job building her up, and I honestly feel like they just have not pulled the trigger on her being champion yet, which is a bit of a shame. Mm-hmm. I honestly think this Nia Jax and Asuka fight for the title would be better placed at WrestleMania myself, because at least then you'd have that thought, could it end? Could that be the night that, Nia gets the best of Asuka and it happens at WrestleMania kind of thing?
Exactly. But they should, if Nia is the one to end the streak, they probably should build her almost like they did Samoa Joe against Brock Lesnar or Braun Strowman against Brock Lesnar. You never know. Everybody thought, hey, tonight could be the night that Joe actually takes out Brock.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they've built up Nia really, really well as of late. She has been booked very strong, dominant in the way that she should have been right from the get-go and stuff like that. But now did they kind of paint themselves into a bit of a corner, because again, everyone's going to be pissed if Nia wins this Sunday. Now, would they be pissed if she was the one that took the streak if it was at a big event? No
way.
But if it happens at Elimination Chamber this Sunday, there's going to be a lot of pissed off fans.
For sure.
And it'll blow up the internet. Guaranteed. That's probably what Vince is sitting there thinking right now. I could possibly make Elimination Chamber the most talked about event of the year in all the wrong ways, like I typically like to do. So, but we'll see how it goes. I'm picking Asuka for the win still. I think it's going that way.
Also.
So again, we're in agreement. So we're both going Asuka. Next, we got 2 Elimination Chamber matches. One of which will be the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber match. Women's title going to be on the line. Alexa Bliss defending in the Elimination Chamber against Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. No word yet on who's starting first, who's entering at any intervals of time, so hard to make any predictions based on that exactly. What are your thoughts on this? Who should walk away? Who do you think's going to walk away as the women's champion? Who's going to WrestleMania holding that title?
I feel like they will do a good job with this. The women's matches lately have been treated very well. I see some storylines being built to WrestleMania. I believe I seen a post by WWE of Sasha Banks backstage saying you're going to see a new side of the boss. Elimination Chamber, I feel like they could do something else there alongside the title picture, but I'm going with Alexa Bliss in the Chamber. But I hope that they do something else, like a three-way. It's the last three of the match: Bayley, Sasha, Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss looks like she's losing the title, and then Sasha will turn on Bayley, letting Alexa hold the title to WrestleMania, and just, I feel like that would be the best thing to do. Again, Elimination Chamber, you never know. But I feel like that would be the smartest thing to do.
Glad you brought that up. In fact, talking on that, again, I see where you're going with it and everything. Latest rumor has it, though, that Sasha might not be the one to turn. And that Sasha has actually been playing this up so that we can get the surprise that we're not expecting. Now, recent rumor has it that Bayley might in fact be the one turning on Sasha.
I could see that.
It does sound very strong, like Sasha and Bayley WrestleMania is on the cards.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
The two of them inside of the ring have fantastic chemistry. It'll be a hell of a match. Now, I was on board with the whole Sasha heel turn because we know what she was like as a heel in NXT. I think it works well for her. Bayley, on the other hand, I've never seen her as a heel. I know she worked heel outside of WWE prior to coming there, but I never saw her work on the indies, so I never got to see what she's like.
Exactly.
But the surprise element is what interests me.
Yeah.
Because, she's been marketed so much to the children, and you see all these little girls wearing their hugger shirts and everything like that. Does that kill Bayley's character, or could it be a rejuvenation that she needs in 2018?
It would be a positive change. Because right now, being so heavily marketed towards children, it's starting to get a little boring. The tube men or whatever, cool. Like, I get it. I get that she's supposed to be this adult child living her dream, and she's still in this fantasy world of, oh my god, I'm in the WWE, but I would like to see a more serious take on Bayley. I feel like if she were to be more serious, her matches would only go higher, standard-wise. If she was more serious, and it wasn't this hugger persona, a little bit more serious against Sasha at WrestleMania, we could see them top the 60-minute Iron Woman match in NXT.
I definitely agree with you there for sure. I think the shock value alone would be worth the value to WWE with Bayley being who she is. Again, she was almost in a ways being pushed as a female John Cena, but yet not with the push that John Cena had to the top of the company kind of thing. Why that happened, I'm not too sure. Again, you could have, but again, they did the wrong thing, I think, with the style of character. They needed to have her be that one that, would fight and almost got, just like in NXT, she'd fight and fight and fight, never quite getting those wins. And then when she started getting on that roll was when everyone really got behind her, because she was that everyday woman that everybody wanted to root for. And when they came to the main roster, it was like a light switch turned off. It was like, no, this is what she's, what you know her in as at NXT as. But unless you were invested in NXT already, you really don't know much about her.
No.
She comes out, she's got crazy colors, wacky, wavy, inflatable arm-waving tube men, and and then it ends there. And then they put her in the ring with Alexa, who I feel she has no chemistry with.
None
whatsoever. Individually, both of them fantastic.
Oh, for
Put the
sure.
two of them in a ring together, and it's like the chemistry dies.
Things just don't work out that way.
That's exactly right.
Some people just don't work well together.
Yeah.
I've heard stories from independent wrestlers that I'm friends with. You know, Kenny Omega when he was first starting out, amazing, but there were just some people he can't work with. There happens to everybody. You can't work with everybody. You don't have the same chemistry. You don't, feel the same way. You have to really click with somebody to have a good match.
Exactly. Yeah, and if it's not there, it's not there, and you can't force it.
For sure.
Stuff. That's why it's good that they're in the Elimination Chamber together. My thoughts on the Elimination Chamber match is similar to yours. Pretty much exactly the same. Alexa going over.
Yeah.
I feel that it is going to come down to Alexa, Sasha, and Bayley because they're going to play out the big heel turn, whether it be Sasha or Bayley. One of the two turns heel, leading to the WrestleMania match. Alexa is going to steal the win from the last remaining person after they're stunned by their friend turning on them.
For sure.
And stuff like that. That's going to be enough for Alexa to pull off one of her, illustrious Alexa Witt type style wins to keep the title. I feel like it's going to be Alexa and Asuka, I'm assuming, at WrestleMania possibly. Or
I'm thinking it's going to be Asuka.
After Charlotte.
I'm thinking it's going to be Charlotte.
Yeah.
And they could work Nia into, facing her best friend.
Well, exactly.
Alexa Bliss. They could work that.
And I see that working out, too, because the fact that, you've got Ronda Rousey coming to Raw. SmackDown could use the rejuvenation of another character being thrown in there. Asuka would be that awesome foe for Charlotte to have, especially. And what a match that would be.
Yeah.
Now, there's a match you sit there and go, holy shit, is Asuka going to lose her streak?
Exactly.
Because if someone's going to beat it, Charlotte fucking Flair's going to beat it.
And there's with Charlotte, it would be awesome to see Asuka, because then you can really see bits of her NXT character of like, I don't give a shit. Ronda Rousey pointed at Charlotte at the Royal Rumble, points at the WrestleMania sign. Asuka can say, no, you're not having Charlotte, I'm gonna take Charlotte. And then I'm taking the title, and then you can face me. Yeah. And that could work into its own thing. That's why I'm sort of leaning towards a Charlotte match.
With Asuka, for sure. And then you're right, I see Nia then being, they'll insert some way for Nia to win a match to get that match against Alexa at WrestleMania.
For sure.
So Nia, Alexa championship, Charlotte, Asuka championship. And then we're going to, this sounds like a lot of women's matches in the card for WrestleMania, which is fantastic.
It's amazing.
For once, it's going to be the most, I think, ever on a WrestleMania. And I hope they don't just shove them all down to the pre-show, is my personal thought on it. If you're going to do a women's pre-show match, I would love to see them do the remaining women of Raw versus the remaining women of SmackDown or something like that. How about they've got the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Why can't the women have an Andre the Giant Battle Royal?
It doesn't even have to be Andre the Giant. It could be a Alundra Blaze or a Beth Phoenix, a Chyna.
Well, I mean, we could go further back and say, we already have the Mae Young Classic, but how about the Moolah Battle Royal, right?
Yeah, the fabulous Moolah Battle Royal. That it could work into so many things.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to add more women's matches, do a separate brand 6-women tag match, Absolution versus the Riot Squad.
There we go. You could do
simple
that too.
Things like that.
Although, Absolution minus one person at the moment.
No. They'll work it better.
They'll rejuvenate with a new character.
Paige can do one more.
One more before
she can just stand on the outside. She can do on the outside and she can scream her lungs out and then go in, get kicked, and get pinned. It would work out.
Fair enough. Hopefully she'll have a chance to get back in her ring.
For sure.
I can only hope.
I seen the video where they say that she got injured, and I felt that.
Yeah.
Part of me was pretty disappointed that Sasha would kick that hard. I seen the impact. It seemed a little hard to me, but of course I wasn't there. I only seen the video, so I can only make assumptions on it.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed a little stiff, but then again, why would you go back if you're not 100%?
Well, that too. And, again, a lot of people I saw blaming Sasha right away and stuff like that. There is a lot to remember when you're inside the squared circle and stuff like that. And mistakes happen.
For sure.
I mean, again, was everybody very critical immediately? I mean, again, here's the biggest difference is when I'm growing up watching wrestling, we didn't have the goddamn internet to turn to every 2 seconds. You didn't have loudmouths like me running podcasts,
for sure.
giving our opinion on everything. So when Stone Cold Steve Austin's goddamn neck got broken because Owen Hart put him in a pile driver that he had,
messed up.
That messed up. You know, like so many guys have done the pile driver so many times and with no issue. Owen made that mistake, and was it because Owen was a careless worker? No, Owen was a fantastic worker, and some people loved that guy.
Slips,
but something went wrong that night.
Yep.
And that's just how it goes down.
Things
you can't
happen.
avoid it.
Yeah.
And again, it's bad because now Sasha. I mean, Sasha's not a very old person. Sasha's very, very young.
Exactly.
Try to remember this, being on the big stage that she is, and stuff like that, and then to take the criticism of armchair booking assholes all the time.
Yeah. For sure,
they know better than
marks.
they think they know better than everybody else. So
yeah.
They sit on their couch every single week, think they can fix professional wrestling.
Exactly.
Because they know better than everyone else.
Exactly.
And again, I'm not ragging on all of you people out there that have an opinion and think things in wrestling. I don't want to do that because you're fans. You have an entitlement to be able to speak your opinion and say what you think and stuff like that. But don't go out there and start criticizing these people unless you've stepped in a ring and know what it's like. Once you've stepped in a ring and understand how much there is to remember and what there is to do, understand mistakes happen and things are going to go down. And sometimes your favorite person might get injured in the process.
Exactly.
It's not anybody's fault. It's the name of the game.
It happens. I fully agree that, you're allowed to voice your opinion. It becomes a problem when you take advantage of that. And you think you know better than the people that are doing it. That's when it becomes a problem. I've wrestled matches, and I've forgotten one thing in every match. It happens all the time. Unless you've been wrestling for years and years and years, and you've been doing the same specific spots for 20 plus years, like Ric Flair. Ric Flair doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to call anything. People know what Ric Flair does. But with Sasha, she's still new. And you'll still forget things. It's just a natural part of it. It's not ballet. It's a physical thing. If you forget something, someone is going to get hurt, and that just happens. It's the name of the game, as you said. It happens. There's nobody to blame. At first, I was a little angry that I seen it, but after I look at it, Paige probably forgot that the kick was coming. She had no time to prepare for it. It happens. There's nobody to blame for it.
Well, I'm sure at the same time, Paige doesn't blame Sasha for it.
Oh, of course not. No,
sure, and Sasha probably feels bad enough. I'm sure she's apologized more than her share of times to Paige for this whole situation. Again,
of course.
Paige might not be out either. I mean, again, they're bringing her out to ringside still. So again, there's always that hope, because if they felt like there was any possibility that something could genuinely go wrong, I don't even think she'd be at ringside.
For sure.
Kind of thing,
it's like a Daniel Bryan situation.
Yeah.
They want to, but they're not sure yet.
Yeah. Again, due to problems they've had before, I think is why they're tiptoeing around it. But again, I think at the same time, they don't want any of these characters to take off to somewhere else and do it somewhere else.
For sure.
Because you know as well as I do, a lot of the indie companies aren't going to care about what WWE thinks. They're going to say, "Oh, your doctor says it's okay. So
your doctor says it's okay.
Ring and make me money."
Yeah, you're making me a lot of money. I don't care if you're going to get another concussion. You're going to do what I say. I'm paying you, and you're going to make me money.
Yeah.
But with the WWE, of course, they care. They care about your body and stuff.
And again, we should probably reiterate. It's not that the other promotions don't care, but the other promotions aren't publicly traded like WWE.
Yeah.
So when they have an issue with somebody getting hurt and stuff like that, they care, and it's a problem and stuff like that. But they're not answering to a whole bunch of people sitting in a boardroom as to why are we getting this negative publicity kind of thing. As where, WWE are constantly, every single night, having to go into these meetings with people in suits who don't understand wrestling whatsoever, who are going to be like, well, how come I'm losing money because you did something that caused a negative reaction?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. And that's why they have to tippy-toe around these subjects so often.
Exactly.
Anyways, let's move on to the final match that we have. Again, there might be more matches to pop up for Elimination Chamber. Haven't really heard yet. This is just what was currently on the WWE website. I'm assuming there's going to be a tag title match after what I saw last night. I'm assuming Titus Worldwide's going to take on the Bar. Titus Worldwide now 3 wins over the Bar.
Yeah.
If that happens, quick prediction.
If it happens, I would like to see Titus Worldwide. But also, the Bar,
See, this is a tough one for me because I like the push of Titus worldwide. I think Apollo and Titus have worked well together. It's been great with Dana Brooke in their corner. I think this is a great combination. Could be a really fun tag team. I don't think it's the right time to pull the trigger with them just yet is the problem.
Exactly.
And the Bar are one of those just elite teams that it's like, for me, it takes an elite established team to beat them. But you can sit there and say that, but I guess Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins beat them for the titles, so yep.
I feel like they could, if it were to happen, they could do a shock value moment, but then instantly pull the plug on it.
It's going to get kiboshed like a day later.
Oh,
so
for sure.
Don't do that. Just leave it on the Bar. If the Bar are your tag champs, leave it on them.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell you're going to do with them for WrestleMania, but as of right now, leave the titles on the Bar.
Yeah.
That's where they belong. Love Apollo, love Titus, love Dana Brooke. Great gimmick. And eventually, sure, but right now, no.
Yeah.
After WrestleMania.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, but last match on Elimination Chamber that is confirmed is the men's Elimination Chamber match. We're going to be seeing 7 men in this elimination. 7 men this time. So the biggest Elimination Chamber ever. The winner of this one will be taking on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Here we go. Here's who's in it. And I think it'll be obvious who we're probably going to say we think is going to win. But let's talk about what we feel should happen as well, too. So we've got John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, The Miz, Braun Strowman, and Elias. 7 guys inside that chamber. We know The Miz is going to be starting in first, which, I brought up on my show recently because The Miz took on, I believe it was Cena in a match to decide who would go enter the chamber first. Now, this had to be the dumbest booked gimmick I think that they could have thought of, because what if John Cena enters at second? It totally kiboshed the whole idea of them fighting for who loses and goes in first, because second, first, same damn thing in the Elimination Chamber. Kind of silly, but either way. Anyway, Miz starting off, so obviously, unless they're completely stupid, I believe that John Cena won't be entering until at least second last or something like that.
I don't even know how it's going to work. 7 men? Are they going to have the 4 pods with a triple threat at first?
See, I've heard, again, that's the rumor I keep hearing, is that they're going to start as a triple threat or whatever. So
that's 3 people that could be John Cena.
It could be, but I'm thinking because of that, the Cena's going to come in like 4th or 5th.
Oh, for sure. One of the last.
If they're going to start with 3, I see it being, it's going to be The Miz, it's going to be Braun Strowman, maybe not Braun, Miz, Balor, and Rollins even.
Miz, Balor, and Rollins.
I could see those 3.
They have been.
Balor will run the gauntlet.
Yeah,
Balor's been running a lot of gauntlets. Well, so did Seth actually.
Yeah,
Seth last night, great performance, man. Hour and 5 minutes. Yeah. That's totally insane when it comes to being inside a squared circle.
Yeah.
But then Balor ran the gauntlet at the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, I see those 3 locking up in a triple threat Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania, and I think that's going to plant the seeds for it myself.
I see them playing on the whole gauntlet style things. They'll probably play Finn Balor. Oh, Finn Balor did so well in the Royal Rumble. He's now going to Iron Man this Elimination Chamber, but Seth Rollins just made history by being an Iron Man. Miz, of course, will be there. They'll obviously play into the Intercontinental Championship picture.
I know Balor was already rumored for that. Yeah. But I feel like what else is there for Seth? And after last night, it makes me think triple threat Intercontinental title makes sense, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But where does Braun Strowman fit in the whole WrestleMania picture now is my biggest question. I mean, you've got Braun Strowman built to the level he is. I don't think he's winning the Elimination Chamber myself.
No.
He's not going to the main event to WrestleMania, unfortunately, for him. So where does Braun Strowman go after Elimination Chamber in terms of something leading into WrestleMania? What is for him? Do they just shrug it off and put him in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and have him win it this year? Or do they have a high-profile enough feud for Braun Strowman going into WrestleMania?
I can see maybe he won't win Elimination Chamber, obviously. But if they still want him to keep relevance and, not just throw him into the Battle Royal, they could also put him in the IC title picture, which probably would do well for him. Instead of having him instantly win, Universal Championship, he can bring relevance to the IC title. You know, him and Miz could have... It would be so entertaining to see, you know, Miz wants to bring legitimacy to the IC title picture. Braun could bring that, and then him and Miz can feud over it. But also, I would still like to see Seth and Finn in that match. And I feel like that would be a good match, especially for all of them, because they all need something like that. They could do all 4 of them in one match, because I don't see Braun going anywhere else. He needs to be in a title picture, and any title picture he's in, he's bringing relevance to it. People are going to watch it and be so, like, entertained by it, because his Universal Championship, you know, run was amazing. When he was going up against Brock Lesnar, nobody knew what he was going to do. It made the title feel important, even though Brock Lesnar wasn't there.
Well, and at the same time, people, for the first time in a long time, felt there was that hope that WWE might pull the trigger and take it off Braun.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done with Braun. They've built him up to the point where people think, this is our guy. This is the guy that WWE needs to have at the top of the mountain. And I think they'd be foolish not to pull the trigger at some point in 2018 with Braun Strowman. Again, I don't necessarily feel like the Intercontinental Championship is the way to go. I personally feel like they're going to dump him into the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And the only way to do that properly is to pull it off the pre-show like it's been the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Put it on the main show, and you've got to have him have moments. Like, there's got to be things he does that you don't see from guys normally. Like, you know, picking 3 guys up at once and dumping all 3 of them over to the top, or something along those lines where, you know, he just dumps everybody in the most funny fashion, or have him eliminate everyone. Have nobody get eliminated by anybody but Braun Strowman. Yeah, and that's the only way you keep that momentum going. You know, he's a monster kind of thing, and you need that.
Nobody can touch him.
If anybody's going to feud with who I think is going to win the Elimination Chamber and go on to beat Brock at WrestleMania in the form of Roman Reigns, I feel that reigniting his feud with Braun Strowman, which was one of the best parts of 2017, would be really good for business.
It would be tremendous for business, and then you look at it, you know, the way that WWE does it, but then there's also like your own like little dream opinion, and my dream opinion would to have Braun win the Elimination Chamber, take the title off Brock, because nobody wants to. Of course, we're going with Roman Reigns winning the Chamber. Nobody wants to see it though. You could have Braun versus Brock. Braun take the title off. If you really want the title on Roman, have Braun take the title off Brock and have Roman beat Brock.
True.
Or Braun.
Yeah, but you know, you say nobody wants to see it. Again, I might differ in opinion to a degree there, only because, you know, Roman, in my opinion, has taken a lot of crap from people over the years.
I'm sorry. I need to reword that. The casual fans, you know, the people that you know are not too into it would like to some extent to see that, but the hardcore fans so against it.
I get why people are so, you know, against Reigns, because that's the boy that WWE wants to push. But you know what? All things considered, he has come a long way in a short period of time. He has been pushed to the top of the mountain. He's one of the best in the world right now. Yeah, he's been pushed to the top of the mountain. He has to take the nonsense week in and week out, and the criticism from people and stuff, carry that on his shoulders while being pushed to the top, being given opportunities to do things like beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and to be able to take the crap you're going to take from fans for that one. I mean, you know, he's done it so well, and in 2017... I don't think he gave us a poor performance once. You know, there was a lot to be worked on in terms of his mic skills, but those progressively got better in 2017. And at this point, to say he can't talk on a mic is kind of nonsense. Yeah, some of his facial gestures are not quite there at times, granted. But again, Roman, not very old or long-term in the business to the point where you'd expect him to have it down packed. Yeah.
Especially, like, a lot of the Smart Mark fans, they forget that top level WWE is way different compared to mid card WWE. Top level WWE, you have to do everything and be good at it. And if you're still, you know, adjusting to WWE style, getting pushed to the top instantly, you're gonna have to learn along the way. It's just the way it works. he's learning. He's coming along really well. Like, people chant he can't wrestle. He's one of the best on the roster. Like, the guy has chemistry with everybody. The mic skills, he's the big dog. Like, his mic work shouldn't be that critiqued, because his whole character is, I'm the big dog, I'm going to kill whoever's in the ring with me. His mic work, yeah, it's so and so, but I wouldn't expect anything more.
Yeah. But again, to me, his mic work has improved and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
He's learning how to play it because he's been put into the top spot, and he's working with top guys at the same time. So, he's learning from guys like John Cena and AJ Styles and those guys that are at the top of the game. I'm sure Triple H is still giving him advice on a daily basis and stuff like that as well, on how to handle himself in a spot such as that.
I'm sure Taker.
He's there.
Taker and him had a talk.
Yeah.
He's still learning from these top guys who have been in the business for decades.
What people don't realize is Undertaker didn't lay down to Roman Reigns because Vince McMahon told him to. Undertaker laid down to Roman Reigns because Undertaker was in on the whole thing too.
Yeah.
Undertaker would not just lay down to whoever Vince tells him to at this point in his career, especially. He's not going to come wrestle at the age of 50 whatever with a broken hip in order to lay down to, and I hate to say it, Kurt Hawkins at a WrestleMania.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen like that.
He Undertaker has enough pull in the company without even having, a match all year, except for WrestleMania. He has enough pull to where he could do whatever he wants. He sees something in Roman Reigns. That's why he laid down for him. That's why he's potentially retired from Roman Reigns, because he saw this star. Because Roman Reigns is a star. He's the biggest star right now. No matter how much people say, oh, I hate Roman Reigns, they're shoving him down our throats, you're buying his merch.
But they can say that all they want too, right? Okay, Reigns is being shoved down your throats, but then Royal Rumble, they gave you nothing but what you wanted this year. I mean, Shinsuke wins the Royal Rumble. He's going to, okay, there could be a dent in the plan with Fastlane coming up, but essentially we're getting AJ Styles versus Nakamura at WrestleMania. Sure. So if you're one of the fans that doesn't care for Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, who the hell cares? You're getting AJ versus Shinsuke.
You're getting a Wrestle Kingdom rematch.
Yeah.
Like, one of the best matches I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the match. It was so good. That's why when Shinsuke won the match, I knew he was going to pick AJ. Because it's the one thing that the hardcore fans appeal to. WWE acknowledges fully that there's hardcore fans that watch other promotions. They'll give you your thing as long as you, don't critique what they're doing for the casual fans. You get your hardcore stuff. You get a Finn Balor versus AJ Styles match. You get a Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles match. You get all of these great wrestlers from the independents facing each other on the big stage, but you still critique a match for the casual fans. Brock versus Roman, of course it's for the casual fans. Yet Brock Lesnar's name is in every casual fan's mouth. Same with Roman Reigns. That's what the kids probably want to see, because they're all behind Roman Reigns on this one.
Oh, of course they are. And, you can't deny it. We could sit there and listen to what you hear, and you hear a resounding amount of boos. But the reason you hear that resounding amount of boos is because when you get guys who are my physical size and stuff like that, and you get 50,000 of them packed into an arena, they're going to outpower the 10,000 little children that are screaming for their favorites and stuff. So when they're cheering for Roman, you don't necessarily hear it unless you're there live. And I've been there live more than once when Roman's been present. And I've been in sections that tend to be heavily dominated with children in them.
Yeah.
And they are cheering their lungs out
when
Roman comes out. But they're being
hear
overshadowed by the resounding boos from the smart marks and stuff out there.
You can hear it on the television.
Oh, of course
when Roman Reigns comes out, it doesn't start off with nothing but boos. You hear 10,000 little kids and 10,000 casual fans, moms, dads, the casual fans that are there with their kids, cheering, screaming their lungs out, and then it becomes overpowered with, the sweaty smarks. Yeah. That's just the way it goes.
But speaking of those same people, though, how many times has it come to a point where Roman is in a match with somebody, and the match is so good that when the match ends, they almost forget for a second about how much they hate Roman and start cheering because of how damn good the match was. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, wait, we're supposed to hate the guy.
Yeah,
Boo,
yeah,
boo.
yeah. It's happened so many times. Every single Roman Reigns match, every single one I've watched, there's never been a moment where they do something amazing and the fans pop. Even the hardcore fans are like, oh my god, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's still Roman Reigns. Like, you're almost hopping on the bandwagon to hate this guy now, even though he's doing amazing things. When he speared Shane McMahon out of the air, I heard no boo.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
I heard nothing from those hardcore fans. But it's just sort of like a trend now to hate Roman Reigns, when really he is doing amazing things all the time.
And I've had these conversations with fans before and stuff, and the ones who hate Roman, I mean, they will argue every point they can. When you bring up the fact that it's like, do you really hate him or just hate the way he got pushed? And it's like, oh, no, the guy can't wrestle. It's like, really?
He
can. Okay, well, let me name you at least 10 moves of his right now off the top of my head. And you do that, and they're like, yeah, well, Finn Balor can do more than that. Of course he can. He's Finn Balor.
Yeah, Finn Balor... Finn Balor does all these things. Yeah. I'm sure he would bring it down to 10 if he had the option to.
Yeah.
When you're a top guy, you don't have to do all these moves or anything like that. Stone Cold had 3 moves. The Rock had 3 moves.
I'm glad you brought Stone Cold up because that's exactly where my thought was going. I was listening to the Stone Cold podcast one day, and he had Braun Strowman on. And this was before Braun Strowman was the Braun that we know now, right? And this is at the start of his run, going into singles with the brand split. So we didn't know where Braun was going at this time. Steve Austin has him on. Braun sounds like one of the coolest guys you could have on your show.
Yeah.
Oh, Braun, if you're listening, please, one day.
Yes.
Anyway. So it sounds really cool to have him on there. And Steve Austin's checking out Braun Strowman's list of moves, because one of the criticisms at the time was Braun Strowman didn't have enough moves in his arsenal. And Steve starts reading out all these different moves of Braun Strowman, and he goes, well, Jesus, this guy's got 10 more moves than I ever did.
Yeah.
And people never criticize Stone Cold because it's the way things have changed. That's the problem. Is nowadays people tune into the indies and stuff like that, and they see these choreographed pieces of art, and I'm going to call it a piece of art because I'm not against what I see in the indies. I'm not going to be, as much as I love the guy, I'm not going to be a Jim Cornette and criticize something because it doesn't work for my style, because I feel like wrestling is diverse enough that everybody can like something different.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So
that's why there's different styles.
Maybe I don't care for certain aspects of it, but I appreciate the athleticism, and I get why guys don't like the whole it looks like a dance choreographed thing sometimes.
It's like a gymnastics,
Fair enough. But that's the problem with the modern day of professional wrestling, is that now you've seen so many people go out and watch so many guys, and it's match after match after match, and it's fast paced. It's move, big move, spot, big spot, big spot, big spot. False finish 5 times, and then something completely insane to finish the match off.
Yeah.
But the problem with this whole thing is that now people don't appreciate other forms of professional wrestling, and they're quick to criticize somebody who works a slower style because of the slower pacing and because they don't have these move sets. Well, those move sets, you're so go, and the wear and tear on the body that's going to take over time. I could only imagine that guys like Ricochet and Will Ospreay and your Leo Rushes and stuff like that over time, and with all due respect to them, it's going to take its toll on their bodies if they don't slow it down to a degree.
Of course.
I'm sure Ricochet, in the back of his mind, one of the reasons for signing over to NXT and WWE in general is hopefully he can slow down
for sure
that style
of course bit, that's
so
why
he doesn't wreck himself.
Of course that's why he signed, because as Stone Cold has said on his podcast before, he had Kevin Owens on. Kevin Owens did a stunner one time. Stone Cold said, hey, why'd you do the stunner without asking me? You just took one of my 3 moves. He can admit it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with those limited moves, he could tell amazing stories. These fast-paced matches, you don't get a lot of story. The story is told before the match. You don't get... With Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar and etc., they'll tell a story through the moves that they do. They'll tell like a roller coaster of emotions just through their 10 moves that they do. You understand that with Ricochet against Will Ospreay, you're gonna see them just be them. The whole story with their matches is, hey, these guys both do flips.
And they both can do them well, and they're both very athletic.
Exactly. You don't get that much. You don't get any other personal aspect of it. It's just these guys do moves. They're really good at what they do. No disrespect, but there's absolutely no story to it. And then you see a Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. You know that like it's really a struggle of like. You're really leaning on each side each time they do a move because they do one of their 10 moves. You change your opinion. You go, oh, Braun's winning this match. Roman hits a Superman punch. You go, oh my God, Roman's winning this time. It's those 10 moves keep you on your feet and keep you entertained through the entire thing while working a slow pace. You don't have to be fast and do everything. They have 20 minutes to fill. You're not gonna go do a 630 senton 5 times in that 20 minutes because that's going to kill the momentum with those moves. If I can do 10 moves, it's like John Cena. If I can do 10 moves and once in a while, a year or so, bust out a new move, the crowd's going to go crazy because it's something they haven't seen from me before.
Yeah.
And it's not taking a big tear on my body because it's the first time I've done the move.
Well, I mean, at the ripe young age of, 50, Chris Jericho steps into New Japan Pro Wrestling and wrestle match against Kenny Omega, of all people. One of the most talked about matches of the year already. Probably will be one of the most talked about matches when we wrap up 2018. And there was nothing flashy, high spot, flippy about it because, of course, Jericho not going to be able to perform that kind of level and stuff. So Kenny Omega, in my opinion, brought his match down a little bit in terms of speed and stuff compared to when he's fighting some of these other guys like a Ricochet, a Will Ospreay, Okada. He has a faster pace with guys like that because he can. With Jericho, he had to bring it down, which is a credit to Kenny Omega to be able to come back and work Jericho's level. A credit to Jericho to be able to step into Kenny's world,
for real,
make it work and make it talked about. I mean, it was excellent. I watched it. Again, I don't watch as much New Japan as I do WWE. Kill me if you must. But at the same time, I watched this one because of the intrigue behind it, and I thought that Jericho, he did awesome. Jericho was awesome. But credit to Omega for stepping back on what he does to wrestle the kind of match that works
the whole
perfectly.
Flashy gimmicks. Yeah. He worked the whole, in every other match, he does a moonsault over the barricade in New Japan. Every other match, he's doing these crazy high spots. With Chris Jericho, you don't have to do that. You know what Chris Jericho is about. You know what Kenny Omega is about. And it's two worlds colliding, and they made it work so seamlessly. There were moments where they adjusted to each other's style. You could see Omega adjusted to, the WWE style, but then instantly Chris Jericho could turn it around and show everybody I can still work a Japanese style match. It was a nice toss and turn of different styles and different speeds, which is why I was so impressed about the Johnny Gargano versus Cien Almas, because it was, people are always talking about good matches. That's a match of the year candidate right there. But it was slow paced.
Isn't that the first time Meltzer's given a 5-star rating to anything WWE in forever?
Yeah, it was the first time in 7 years.
It's been a long time. He's always a 4.75 or 4.5 kind of thing, never 5. But Gargano
he gave
and
it
Almas,
a 5-star match, and there's a reason to it because it wasn't flashy spots galore. Yeah. Johnny Gargano and Cien Almas are both flashy guys. At the very beginning of the match, they got all their flashy stuff out so that you've seen it. But now they were working a slower pace, and they told a story of Johnny Gargano's getting screwed. And eventually, Candice LeRae comes in. It gives you this big hope spot of oh my God, Johnny Gargano's getting screwed right now, and he's still fighting. That's why I got a 5-star rating, is because the storytelling alone in this slow paced match was amazing.
Well, especially considering that there was not really any massive allure to the match. Again, most of that whole build up to that NXT, I mean, it worked, but nothing on the card made you go, good God, this is going to be the most remarkable NXT. And I'm watching this thing thinking, great match right off the start. Great match to follow it up. And as it's going along, you get to, second last match of the night, and you're like, oh my God, nothing's topping what I've just seen. And then Gargano and Almas come out and totally blow your mind. And I'm listening to Cornette's podcast the other day.
Yeah.
And, I'm always not sure what he's going to think of certain matches, especially one like of this. And I saw Jim Cornette reviews Johnny Gargano and Cien Almas, and I'm like, I've just got to listen because this is one of those ones where I'm just not sure where this is going.
Yeah.
And he wants to know more about Gargano after this match. He loved Almas, but he said that Gargano, like, he was surprised that this kid who he almost doesn't know anything about go in and impress him like he did. And the two of them, he said, worked a hell of a match, and he can see why everyone's loving it.
They told the story as Jim Cornette was saying he wants to learn more about Johnny Gargano. That's what they did in the match, is that you want to see more of this underdog character. After the match, Ciampa hits him in the back with a crutch. That sets up another amazing match. Yeah. Nobody knows who Ciampa is unless you've seen him on the independents. The guy can work an amazing match at a decent pace. And I would love to see both of them go on and just tear the house down.
Well, we know they can. If anyone's watched the Cruiserweight Classic, we know that the two of them can put on a hell of a show. And I think if anything could possibly get to the level of Almas and Gargano this year, definitely Gargano versus Ciampa can get there.
NXT is the definition of good storytelling. They've been writing this thing for so long, and it just showed that Johnny Gargano got screwed out of everything. He was the major underdog, and now you're even more behind this guy to go into his next match with Ciampa. Of course, Johnny Gargano's probably gonna win it, but then it sets up this like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens type deal. And Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens didn't ever work a fast-paced match either. They just clicked well together. They told a story of like, we were once considering each other brothers, and now we hate each other. And that's what I love about a slower-paced match, is that you can tell these stories without making it so confusing.
And then when the spots get bigger throughout, you're more inclined to love those spots and remember them. Because when it's all spots, that's the thing. It gets to that point where I'm like, okay, I've seen a lot of these already.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to remember?
With the Cien Almas and Johnny Gargano thing, if they were to just do that the spot where he double knees him into the ring post, that would be thrown out the window like, who cares? But they built it up in a way where it was like, okay, like that was the last thing Johnny Gargano could ever take. Like there was no more. That was the final blow. It really showed people that that's what it took to put Johnny Gargano away. They did it so well that even with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Money in the Bank, they were having their feud in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Sami Zayn slams him on a ladder. Everybody went wild. They've done it a million times before on the independents, but it was all that long-term storytelling that really worked everything out.
And hopefully that's the long-term storytelling that's going to begin this Sunday with the Elimination Chamber.
Exactly.
Leading into WrestleMania, the fun time of the year. We know we're going to get a hell of a night with NXT the night before WrestleMania. WrestleMania is always fun. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, it doesn't always every match suit everybody. But, as a wrestling fan, you're going to watch it. You're going to have some fun. You're going to eat those chicken wings. You're going to drink those beers. You're going to enjoy some wrestling because that's what we're all about here as wrestling fans. Anyways, this one has been going over an hour, so the longest show we've done since, I think, the last time I had special guests on the show. So this has been a lot of fun. I hope we can do this again soon. Tyler, thanks for stopping by.
No problem, buddy.
Again, anybody who's listening, thank you for listening in, especially to this long of an episode. Appreciate it. As always, I'm your host, the Real Bobby Munson. Go ahead and give this video a like, share it around, and while you're at it, also hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification right beside it so you can find out when we release more material for Ring Respect Radio. But until then, and until next time, I'm the Real Bobby Munson, and you either get real or get Munson.